Brooklyn Independent Television.
Joining me in the studio, he's a former Dallas Cowboy. Also, he is the Chief Operating Officer and co-founder of the Trey Whitfield Foundation School, A.B. Whitfield. A.B., welcome.
Well, glad to be here. I mean, I'm very excited. I just met some of my homies in here. You know, I'm very delighted. I'm an IC Norfolk Greyhound, and one is in the house. You know, I love that.
I know it's Norfolk State, but you know the Morgan men are always here, right?
Morgan Bear.
CIAA. As far as your career, played with the Dallas Cowboys. You also played with the Denver Broncos. Tell us about your career, and also in college. You played Elizabeth City College.
Yeah, well, you know, of course, leaving school, I was all everything, and what young fellas got to realize, you can leave your college as all everything, and then the cold facts hit you when you get to the pros. Everybody's all everything, and I had a nice wake-up call when I got to the pros, realizing that guys were just fabulous athletes. So I'm lucky enough to have played with the Cowboys for a while, with Denver, New Orleans the first year they were in. But the best time I think I had was the 2 years I played in Montreal in Canada.
Montreal Alouettes.
Yeah, really, really nice city, nice fans, nice people. Boring football, but just a nice place to live.
Tom Landry, tell us about him.
Love him. Tom Landry, of all the people I think I met in my life, he's probably one of the top 5 people, period. Because his principles, he lived them, he believed in them. When I first met him in our first training camp, what he addressed to us was that God was first in his life, his family second, everything else was third. And of course, when you're young, you listen to that and say, what's he talking about? But as you grow old and wise, you realize that's how you need to live your life. A great impact on my life.
As far as you play football, you look at the game today, how much has the game changed overall on the field and also off the field, especially with this lockout situation?
The game hasn't changed. The players have changed. The attitudes have changed. When I played, the average salary, as a matter of fact, when I signed with the Cowboys, I think I signed for about $13,000. I think my roommate, Pugh, who played 15, 16 years, signed for maybe $1,000 more.
That was Jeffrey Pugh?
Yeah, my best buddy on earth. And what happened with this is that we played for the glory of the game. Nobody negotiated, had lawyers. It was a privilege to play in the NFL. Now it's like it's changed so much. Players all about money, about me, not team concept, and it's the whole face and the game has changed. Guys are bigger, faster, and whatnot, but in between the ears, slow.
As far as the owners also, how was the relationship with the owners back then?
I think the owners are very selfish. They've always had money, but they always took advantage of guys who just wanted to play in the NFL. And I think people found it out when they started signing guys like Joe Namath for $400,000 bonus. Green Bay, who had just come off championship season, signed Donnie Anderson for $200,000. A fullback on that same year, same team, Jim Grabowski for $100,000. So guys saying, where's this money going? And at that time, Jim Brown was the highest paid player in the league, around $100,000. Okay, so then you give an untried person $400,000 bonus. Not that Joe didn't deserve it, but I'm saying guys in the league wouldn't even make it near that amount of money.
Right, because he said he went through a lot during that time. Yes. As far as from what I read, and what I remember some of the interviews.
Yeah, he got a lot of heck. Who was this young guy, young stud, you know, coming to New York making $400,000, hadn't thrown the football yet. And you got a bar star coming on championship teams begging for $35,000, $40,000. You see, so, and then it just made everybody aware that there's some money someplace. Matter of fact, we didn't get paid for exhibition games. So all that money and the exhibition games weren't free. People paid to see them, but owners took advantage of all of that.
Right. As far as the lockout situation, what are your thoughts about that, what's happening right now?
I don't think the league can afford a fan base leaving. Football is a fan-based sport. Vegas depends on it. A lot of people depends. There's a lot of betting going on. But it's a sport that everybody looks forward to. Right now they're talking about September 11th, Jets and Giants playing. Can you imagine the season open up with September 11th? There's nothing going on in the stadium. So these things, I think owners have done their homework. You know that some guys live for check to check and figure some guys will defect, which will cause a little ruckus. But I think guys are more determined to get people to understand that it's not about money. It's about the health benefits and things like that they don't want to talk about. I mean, you got guys got trauma from the AstroTurf, from hitting that pounding 12, 20 years. I mean, guys have lost their minds, lost families, and nobody addresses. We had a guy, Dr. Archie Roberts, who made available 4 years ago for all the tri-state retired players get free physicals up at Mount Sinai. The physicals cost about $5,000 a piece. The league should have long time done something like that. Here's a guy that did it because he understands that guys are injured, guys can't afford to pay this money. And you had some recent retirees like the Harry Carsons, all these guys, they were up there getting the free physicals because nobody cares.
And it's all about business.
That's right. And a lot of guys, I've had a lot of damage done. I got broken bones everywhere.
Now, when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation a little further in the show about how Trey Whitfield Foundation and the school came about. Right after this. In case you're just joining me, I'm continuing a conversation we had before with A.B. Whitfield, formerly of the Dallas Cowboys, and also Chief Operating Officer of the Trey Whitfield Foundation and School. I want to talk to you about the foundation and also the school that unfortunately came into existence in 1989. Tell us about how the school.
Yeah, well, actually, it started prior to that. Janie Whitney, my son's mom, had this great idea of starting a school in East New York. And I said, hey, East New York, come on. But it was 3 modules on Vermont and Linden Boulevard that Thomas Jefferson had for years as an annex.
Now, prior to that, you were a teacher here in the New York City
school
system.
Well, I had to teach now. I was making $12,000 a year. Okay. And so off season, I had to get a job. Right. So I was an education major. I always wanted to, all my role models were teachers. I really wanted to teach. So from the time I left college, I was teaching school. I've been teaching ever since. And off season, I ran to the Board of Ed in different places who would have me, and I taught school. So by the time I retired from football, I was full-fledged into teaching. So in '89, when she started the school, I came on board to help. I really had retired from teaching. I got so disgusted with the way the Board of Ed was going. I had retired. I've been out about a year or two. I really worked with O.J. Simpson with her. So I did a lot of the commercial shots for them, jumping over suitcases, stuff like that. I worked with him for about 4 or 5 years, and I came on board because it was a challenge, just started a new school. I helped them do the curriculum and set up, and we got desks and chairs.
And this is in East New York.
East New York.
And it was out of trailers, basically.
Out of trailers, horrendous situation that we made nice and clean and wholesome with the idea only to have an advanced education for people who couldn't afford private schools. That was our mission. And all come, no discrimination. Whoever walked through that door, we tried to educate them. We had luck the very first year. And we started with a program that would incorporate children at pre-K reading and writing, which is unheard of. Oh, we can't do that. And we had success the very first year. Fast forward, around 2000, we started getting a lot of acclaim, front page of New York Times, Bill O'Reilly's show, ABC, CBS came in, whatnot, and the church felt a little embarrassed. We were very successful. Word got out we were a charter school.
And when was this, about 90, 91, 92?
Yeah, 99,
because
99.
the school started in 89.
In 83, actually.
83, okay.
83.
Okay.
Trey passed, my son drowned in 89, so we had the name change from Bethlehem.
I'm also going to talk to you about him also, but let's get into the school.
Yes.
We'll talk to you about
your son. So, we kept going forward. Top grades in our district, tops in the city. As a matter of fact, they stopped publishing our grades. Our grades were so good every year. Stopped publishing. And we compete now with the best of the best in this state, in the country. We have been doing it for 27 straight years. It's our 27th year, and our grades have been impeccable, So we were able to, when we were asked to leave that property around 2000, we were able to get some property at Hinsdale and Atlantic, north of where we were.
Now, where is that located?
Right near the Long Island Railroad, okay. right at Broadway Junction, you would call it. We had a gentleman named Alan Fishman, Independence Bank president. Loved the school. Knew what we did, knew of our record of how we ran our school, our teachers, and how hard they worked. Here's a man who took a risk and loaned us millions. And said to me, I can say it now because he's no longer the president of the bank, as we walked out, you guys continue to do the good job you're doing with education, don't worry about the money.
Your son, who was Trey Whitfield?
Trey was an All-American, McDonald's All-American player who played everything. Was in his last few days up at Brewster Academy, full scholarship. Quarterback every major college in the country, from Calipari to whoever. They want him to play.
He was like 6'5", about 240.
6'9", 240. Had a game something like Charles Oakley, at that type game. More than that, he was just a good guy. And he drowned in a boating accident trying to help save some kids in his boat. And I tell people all the time, had he lived and they perished, it'd been hard to deal with. So he lost his life in a valiant effort, and for a valiant cause. And we decided either we can just bow your head and wallow and swallow, or you can turn his tragedy into a triumph. And we decided to make it a triumph. So in his name, the school became Trey Whitfield School. And in his name, we started a foundation. And we wanted to have a foundation that would serve every nationality, because that's how he was as a person. He wanted every child to have access to education. So,
hold that thought. We want to continue this conversation. Sure. It's really great. And we'll be back with a little bit more further conversation about A.B. Whitfield, the school, and also a big event they're holding in July further in the show right after this. We are at the end of the road of our conversation with A.B. Whitfield. We're discussing Trey Whitfield Foundation, the school, how it all came about, and also the big event you're holding in July 22nd at
July 22nd. Don't miss it. Right. We've had a star-studded 17 years.
How many years? 17 years?
17 years, and we've had the best. Matter of fact, our first honorees, Earl Pearl Monroe, Johnny Newman, and Charles Oakley. So that tells you what kind of event. And that's 17 years ago. Earl has been just a wonderful friend. I know from college. I idolized him in college.
Went to Salem State, right?
Yeah, awesome. He's an awesome person. I want people to know, Hall of Famer, everything, but a real gentleman and a person who has always helped us with our school and foundation. I got to tell you that off the top. The guys like the Sam Jones of the world, Jim Browns of the world, I can tell you they're the best ever. Rick Mahorn. We've been surrounded by athletes who people need to know who they really are, because we've had the kindest persons in the world to give of themselves. Earl Lloyd, the first black professional basketball player, they fall in love with our school. I can tell you, when they come on our campus, they all fall in love. Matter of fact, Sam Jones won't come in town. If he can't come to school, he's not going to come and play golf. That's where he is. And, I mean, you can't pull him out of school. My roommate from Dallas, Jethro, if he can't come to the school, don't talk about the school, he didn't come to New York to play golf. And so we feel good about that, because what it means is that these guys care what we care about.
Now, I know you're heavy into education as far as the education part of your school. What about sports? Are you maybe pushing your basketball? Do you offer also football? Are you looking at that?
Not really, because we have such a small space. We've never had a gym. In all the years, never had a gym. We've just always been short of space. Never had an auditorium for theater or whatnot. So we managed to do theater in small places. We take our kids to theater. We have our boys dancing. I think it's more important to teach them about theater, about dancing, about being a good person, being a gentleman. And we break that word down every day. It's gentleman. And gentleman don't mean that you're weak and whatnot. It's gentleman. And it's man is there now.
That's right.
So it's not like you've been a girl. You're a gentleman. You can open that door, it's okay. We hug our boys. We kiss our boys. Because we say, how do you learn to kiss your daughters and wives and sisters if we don't kiss you now? How do they know?
True.
And I think everybody in a gang would rather be kissed and hugged, whether they admit it or not. So we're very cautious about how we go about sports, because they see this all the time. If they ask, of course, I go into long stories. Until they ask, we don't do it. Well, we do have a great physical education program. We got a great teacher of physical education. We have a boys club, with our parents run. And so they have enough, and we take them to basketball games. They see enough already.
They see enough. ESPN can watch it. What is your opinion also about high school sports today?
I think high school sports got to be careful who they're coaching these young kids. It's about a selfish thing, winning at all costs, at your child's expense like that. It's the kind of language they use with kids. And let me tell you something. They miss out on a lot of good talent because guys and girls don't want to be intimidated. When you tell a guy, you can't try for my team because you're only 5'5", what do you say to a kid? And on that level, you're teaching life skills. Sports, what it was intended to do in high school and below, was just to teach life skills, not about winning championships. But now they made it so that if I'm not a winning coach, you're a loser, you're a failure. And that's why a lot of kids sit home and watch TV and play this, because they're outcasts.
Is it a big business today? It's becoming
huge.
a big business?
It's huge.
Like college, it's...
Well, you know why? Because you got sponsors like Nike and people like that, meaning well, but then you're suiting everybody up. You're giving coaches apparel. You're giving equipment like that, because you want your brand. And so it's about money.
Do you think, especially what's happening at the college level, the kids, the college players, especially basketball, football, they want to get paid. Do you see that coming to the high school level?
I
Especially the way high school sports are going right now.
What's going to happen now? If the NCAA says in a few years we're going to give stipends, I think it'll filter down to high schools. And I tell you why. I just think that, first of all, you must understand, there are some college guys who have aged with their families. They're in school, but their families. How can they take care of families? So if you have a program that says, if you stay in school 4 years in the NCAA school, we can give you $2,000 or $3,000 a year, I think that's commendable, because you give them an incentive to stay in school. And that's why you do it anyway. You should be going to school not for sports, but to stay in school, educate yourself.
Correct.
And I think if that works, the way that the rate of high school dropouts right now, to give incentives, you're going to do 4 years, and sponsors going to do it, not taxpayers. They say to you, you got a graduation class, you got a senior class of 300 kids. If all your kids graduate, we can give them stipends to go to college.
Because the camera people are getting paid, announcers are getting paid, everyone's getting paid except the players.
Everybody's getting paid, except the guys who are out doing them fields.
But they say they're getting an education, so that's free, right?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Okay.
That's what they say.
All right. Well, AB, it's a pleasure. Got to have you back.
Please invite me, and I'm going to bring some of my big boys, the Jim Browns of the world, the Earl of Pearls of the world.
You bring the Jim Brown here, we'll be happy.
I'm the little fish in the big game, and I'm just privileged to have witnessed and played with some of these people, some great people that I admire. Jim Brown is my idol. Jethro is my idol. Earl is my idol. So I'm lucky enough to be in an era that I look up to these guys because they're real, real good guys.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
Watch this and other Brooklyn Independent Television episodes online at breakartsmedia.org/BIT.